So I decided to wait until after China released the new numbers to make this video, and I'm very glad I did. So the theme of today was, the cases of coronavirus were starting to flatline again, and they were starting to see decreases. And today, after the market closed, we went from 1,600 new cases to 349 new cases. So that's a massive drop. It's basically nothing at this point. Like 349 is really not that many. And to see a drop like that, with getting a cure in a year from now, it's kind of like we just got to make sure that there's not a crazy outbreak again. But at least it's been identified at this point, and it seems like we've hit the peak. And it was a very sharp drop down very quickly in a matter of like 3-4 days. So that's very good for the market. So let's assume coronavirus is pretty much out of the water now. China's going to get back online. People are going to start going back to factories. Companies are going to resume production. Where does this leave us? So we had Apple saying that they weren't going to meet their quarterly expected revenue. And that's probably going to be the case across the board. Nobody else has just come out and said that. But Apple has a lot of cash on hand, the biggest company in the world. Maybe now Microsoft is technically, but they can come out and say that kind of thing. A lot of other companies are probably going to wait and slowly but everyone knows that was going to be the case, right? China was offline. Products weren't getting produced. Like, it was always a concern. So we've been in not good territory all of 2020. We started 2020 with the trade deal, with good 2020, new decade optimism, and we haven't felt that. Like, it hasn't felt like 2020 is the decade to be, but 2020 is the decade to be. So we started with Iran, then immediately after Iran, we had coronavirus, and it just hasn't gotten to that point. So now is the time to start looking for good American companies. Things like Virgin Galactic, great American company. I think very undervalued still, even though they've shot up 300% in the last 2-3 months. Still very undervalued. This is going to be a stock that's going to be around for the next 100 years. And it's only just beginning. They're not really making money right now. Obviously, if you're looking at it on an EBITDA basis, this is not a good business. But we're looking for growth. We're looking for the future. That's, if you're following me, you're following my investment philosophy, you're at least taking it in. And we're looking for technologies and companies that are going to change the future and be worth a lot more than we pay for them today. Virgin Galactic is one of those. Yes, it's not at the $2 billion, $1 billion market cap we saw before, but $5 billion is not that much. This is a company that's going to be offering a lot of products, ranging from space tourism products that are selling at $250,000 a ticket. I don't know exactly how many they're going to fit on each trip. They're probably going to develop other vehicles for that are going to be larger. It's going to be a wide range. But they've already sold 500 of those tickets, and they have 3,500 people who have expressed interest who will probably just buy that ticket. You're not going to spend that kind of money or think you're going to spend that kind of money unless you actually have that kind of money, and it's a unique product that a lot of people want. So I still think Virgin Galactic is a good buy. That said, it's very ripe for a sell-off. A lot of people are going to try and cash out on that. A lot of people had it, for 2 months ago, 1 month ago, and they're seeing big gains. They want to cash out. They at least want to cash out a little bit on their positions. That might not happen tomorrow, but it might happen 2-3 weeks when this post-coronavirus buying starts to slow down. Now, another area that you need to start looking at, and I started looking at today as like a hedge for the seeming drop in coronavirus, is oil. So oil's gotten destroyed since coronavirus. A lot of companies down 50 to 100%. Crazy. The company I put in my story today, Oasis Petroleum, I bought that option because the stock is so unbelievably cheap, and the option is reasonably far out. All I need is an 8% return to start making a lot of money on that option. But I would not advise a long-term view on that stock. It's got a lot of debt. It does have a very low PE ratio, 3.9. That's like unheard of. It's absurdly low. So I wouldn't buy that stock. I would buy options. And I'm personally not bullish on long-term oil. I'm bullish on a solar company, which I'll talk after this. I'm not bullish on long-term oil. I think oil's got a solid 10, 20 years of good oil. But every year we're going to start seeing more and more solar. Solar has like basically no market share, basically only using oil. But you shouldn't buy oil as a long-term hold. It's just not what you do. But super cheap right now. So if you want to get in and out quick, if you want to buy on some sort of high exposure, high leverage kind of thing, I'm normally not about that. But I'm about it right now just because it's gotten so destroyed. It's like unfairly destroyed how much we have hated on oil the past couple weeks. So I'm for an oil option right now. Mine is expiring March 20th. I figured, if we're getting close to the end of coronavirus, that would be plenty of time for our people to be like, all right, coronavirus is done. China's back online. They need oil. And the price of oil to go back up $10 per barrel. So that's a good area to look for some plays is oil right now. Everything's destroyed. The other company I just mentioned is called Jinko Solar. Okay, it's the largest solar producer in the world. It's based out of China. Very low PE ratio. I believe it's either 10 or 17. Regardless, it's super low because that's the price to earnings ratio. The earnings coming from solar are fractional right now compared to what they're going to be. So you want to get it now while it's still a low PE ratio and the earnings and revenue are going to go way up in the next couple of years. And then today's PE ratio, the stock price is going to go up. So PE ratio might stay the same, but like the numbers of the ratio are both going to go up, price and earnings. So good stock to buy. Price of the stock, implies that you're going to make money. I don't know if I explained that super well. Regardless, Tesla, I think, is the leader in terms of quality of product. Jinko Solar has access to the Chinese market more so than Tesla does. They're going to be aided by the Chinese government. The Chinese government obviously wants to have a solar player. And while their solar panels now are just generic, boring, disgusting-looking solar panels, those are selling a lot in China. People in China are buying solar panels, and they're definitely going to innovate on those products. They're definitely going to be making crazy solar panels in China. China has got a massive energy problem. They need to get their act together on renewable energy, and they do a lot of crazy stuff with building homes. They build prefabricated homes. And the Chinese government wants to push Chinese companies. Obviously, America wants to push American companies. But the Chinese government's willing to get involved and make sure that happens. And Jinko Solar is the leader, so I'm sure their CEO, whoever it is, the board, has very good connections with the Chinese government. I think Jinko Solar is going to be a winner. I think now it's a good price. And I would look at it as a long-term hold and buy it right now. Everything in China is pretty low. Now we got the trade deal. We're going to be working on phase 2. A lot of optimism. The economy is going to go on this long-term bull run right now. Coronavirus was the catalyst. It's not a catalyst anymore, it seems. I don't want to pencil that in yet. It's China again. Let's see if this has some bigger geopolitical implications on that government and their state-run media. But looks like coronavirus is gone for the most part. It's going to still be around. There's probably going to be X amount of cases a day, but it's not 1,600 cases a day. It's 108 deaths. So I just got that number. I'm speaking on my few-minute reaction. I just remembered 108 deaths. It's lower than the 160 from the day before, but 108 deaths is still a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of people who still have the virus, so that would explain that. So, but it seems pretty safe now. It seems like now it's time to start buying. I've kind of just been in like a let's hold mode in case something did happen. It looks like now we've hit the peak, and now it's time to start buying again. Not a whole lot of sell-offs except for oil. Travel, kinda. I don't really like travel stocks. I think Virgin Galactic is going to disrupt a lot of travel with whatever the next generation of plane is that they're going to create. That's going to take us to China in 3 hours. So enjoy. Happy investing. Peace.